Hi, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Upcycled Adulting, where I am here to help you grow to accomplish your goals, overcome obstacles, and create healthy habits. Now, don't forget to subscribe because I am all about helping you build the life of your dreams. And today I'm going to be talking about how to identify the life of your dreams because I know how challenging it can be when you have all these outside influences to just step into living your life, being your true, authentic self, identifying your goals and dreams, and going after them. In a lot of cases, we are in direct conflict with all these other forces in our lives. And it's really easy to feel like we've lost ourselves. We don't even know who we are anymore. We don't have a strong sense of identity or a strong sense of purpose in our lives. And so today I'm going to talk about what interferes with that. What's muddying the waters? What's causing distraction and preventing us from having clarity so that we can just turn those knobs a little bit and tweak that and hone in to finding what matters most to ourselves. So if you are out there and you have struggled time and time again to accomplish your goals, or you are struggling to even identify your goals, you feel like you don't know who you are, or you've completely lost yourself, this is for you. Today, I'm going to talk about all the forces that come into play and how to tweak those to make that better. Because, y'all, it's really important that you figure out what matters most to you. If your goals don't align to your values, to your dreams, you can't accomplish them. But if you can't identify your values or your dreams, you also can't set them. So, a lot of times, what happens is we set goals that are kind of prescribed socially. This is the thing you should be going after. You should be trying to lose weight. You should be trying to make more money. You should be trying to keep a cleaner house. There's a list of prescribed things. But if those things don't resonate with you, if those things don't resonate with you in that way, it will never work. It will never work. So let's talk about the 5 common barriers or confusers to this entire situation so that we can address how we can minimize their impact and kind of create some balance here so we can hear our own voices too. So, number one, and probably the most complicated one, is family. And one of the reasons why it's complicated is because it's a pervasive force in our lives, but also because a lot of times the family influence about who you should be or what your purpose should be or what you should be doing or what should matter to you happened so early in your life. And sometimes it simply happened through modeling, not even through saying it, that you don't even identify anymore that is from your family of origin. That's not about you. It's not about you. And being able to actually say, wow, I see this. And what you often will see is a trend in your family. Trends in your family are usually caused by this influence. They didn't come from nowhere, right? If most people in your family, for example, in my family, nobody ever really went to college. I have one uncle who went to college on my mom's side of the family. On my dad's side of the family, that really wasn't a thing until my cousin who's younger than me. Now, because of that, that's a trend in my family. So what does that mean? That means that there's not an expectation in my family to pursue higher education. It also might mean that, and it does in my family, that there is a deterrent, meaning that that's not a thing that we do. Okay. Our family doesn't do that. And that is true in my family. We're not uppity like that, right? And so, or we can't do that. That's a belief, a limiting belief that's held by a whole family and that is enforced and indoctrinated into younger generations in the family. So, understanding that that is what's happening and that is limiting your own goals or your own dreams or your sense of who you are is really important. I highly value education. I am super interested in learning new things all the time. I have a very curious mind, and I've always said that I am a lifelong learner. But that's not something in my family that I would have ever been able to connect with. And so I spent a lot of my life feeling really lost because that wasn't something that was truly that felt accessible to me or that felt acceptable. Understanding that about myself helped me to understand why I always felt so different from the rest of my family. And in some ways, like a black sheep, to be honest, even though I know that this is a, generally perceived positive trait in my family, this wasn't a thing. So it made me different. It made me kind of the weird one, I felt. And so it was hard for a long time for me to really come to a space of being like, this is part of who I authentically am. Okay. It is. That's part of who I authentically am. And it's totally fine that it's not part of who you authentically are. And it's not my responsibility if you feel like something's like I'm judging you or like I think something that I don't actually think. That's not my job. So understanding that and being able to pull that out really, really matters. Now, number two is like the influence of the culture you're part of, the generation you're in, the and the community in which you live. These are hugely impactful. I know in my generation that the way that women getting a higher education or women pursuing careers was perceived was different than it was for people of generations older than me and younger than me, right? I know that what constituted women's work has changed a lot. And so understanding that the generation you're in, so your peers in society, very much impact what you believe you're supposed to be matters. I look at my children, I am a Gen Xer who has raised millennials and Zoomers, and I look at my children and I see kids who never had the family pressure of you have to get married at a certain time. But that doesn't mean that they didn't have some of that social pressure, especially the millennials, right? My oldest is 30 and is feeling that a little bit and is feeling that more than my younger kids who don't think anything of a timeline for getting married. The generation that you're in or the culture of your family, and this is a big one also in my family because we have some cultural things, some cultural beliefs about what women should be doing, or some cultural beliefs about how a home should run or what your dreams or pursuits should be based on our culture, right? And for me, because I am second, third generation immigrated to the US, it's different than people who may have immigrated longer ago or more recently, and there may be some very different cultural expectations. I know I have a friend of mine who is Scottish. She came as an adult and she has different perspectives of what she should be doing or what should happen in her family based on her Scottish heritage. This is a thing that we are navigating, and it's important to know that. In addition, you may notice that there are some community things. So, interestingly, I live in a community where most people are college educated, and there's an expectation that everyone will be college educated. I will never forget when my fourth child was graduating from high school, and we always have big graduation parties to celebrate their high school graduation. And they said, this isn't even a big deal. Graduating from high school isn't even a real accomplishment. And I was shocked because in my family and even in my husband's family, graduating from high school is a big deal. We both have many cousins who have not graduated from high school. That is not oh, that'll definitely happen. But in our community, it is. And our community dropping out of high school is so rare and so unusual that our kids have grown up with this. That's just what people do. People just graduate from high school, right? And while that's great, and I'm glad that my kids all graduated from high school, it's really important to recognize that it also puts upon them an expectation that may not align with who they are. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want my kids to graduate from high school. Of course, I, as their mom, am going to insist that they graduate from high school. But in a community like mine, where that is an expectation, it's also an expectation that they must go to a 4-year college. And preferably a Big Ten or Ivy League school, right? And so where that's not a fit Most of my kids have actually gone to small private schools because private universities, because of the small class size, right? Because of the scholarship funds available there and things of that nature. So there is misalignment in our community. Some of my children have chosen not to go to college. It's not their path. One of my kids went to college, got a degree, and now works in a field that doesn't require a degree and has a certification. So I think it's interesting and important to point out how the community pressure will direct the choices, right? It's okay if your goal isn't that. All right. I know for some of you who are parents of teenagers, you're like, I don't want to hear this, Cassie. I really don't want to hear this. And listen, I'm not saying close the door to opportunities. Don't close the door to opportunities. Down the road, you might want that, right? But what I'm saying is that it's important to be able to identify, is this desire to do this thing coming from within me, or is this happening because of outside influence and pressure? You will be far more successful if it aligns with you, if it's authentic for you. The next one I want to talk about is your partner and your parenting, meaning your partner and your kids. So, for those of you who are moms or dads or partners or parents or, okay, all of these dynamics in relationships create a lot of additional stuff because now you're dealing with your partner and their family expectations, their cultural or generational or community expectations. Now, while you may have different expectations than them, and this is probably a different video about dealing with in-laws and navigating these differences together, it's really important to understand that you may have an expectation that this is what you should do or this is what you're supposed to do that comes from your family, your culture, your generation, your community, and your partner may have a different one. And those may come into conflict and create a lot of confusion for you, meaning you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're not. You're still somehow falling short. And as a parent, this is a consistent issue. All right. As much as I love social media, and we're going to talk about that today, social media is also very problematic. The expectation on parents, particularly moms, is absolutely outrageous. And that feeling that you are supposed to be some sort of perfect mom and you're supposed to pursue a career and you're supposed to have a side hustle and you're supposed to, that is happening. Okay. The parental pressure from other parents, from your peers, from your partner about what should be happening could be in extreme conflict with what you were raised to believe and also what you personally believe. Wow. And that I think is why a lot of times when people recognize that they feel like they've lost themselves or lost their identity, they don't know who they are anymore. This is a lot of times this space in life where this happens. And it's because there's too many inputs, right? So you think it's this way, your partner thinks it's this way, this is what you've both been raised with. And then you've got your own internal stuff that's like, none of that matches or works. I don't know what's going on. And on top of that, you feel like you have somehow been reduced to your role as a partner or as a parent, right? I'm not just me anymore. I'm so and so's mom. And listen, I love my kids. I have 5 kids, right? But I'm a lot more than just their mom. That's not everything that I am. And a lot of times the pressure for that to be everything that you are, and that if that's not everything that you are, you're somehow failing as a parent, creates tremendous problems. And the pressure to do parenting perfectly, which by the way, spoiler alert, you are going to screw up. You're going to screw up. Everybody out there listening, you're going to screw up in some way. You're going to traumatize your kids. Okay. The best thing that you're ever going to do for your children is to acknowledge it and apologize because none of us is perfect. We're going to let them down. So we get so preoccupied with being the perfect partner or the perfect parent that we lose all sense of connection to our own identity. And we basically feel like we're in a constant whirlwind, a constant tornado. And really stepping back from that and saying, I want to show up as best I can as who I am, pursuing my dreams, pursuing my goals, being me, living out loud, because I want to give my kids permission to do that when they're grown-ups. Sometimes that's the only way to actually overcome this is to say, I need to do this. I need to figure out who I am. I need to figure out what matters to me. I need to figure out my big, crazy dream. I need to go after that. I need my kids to see me do that because I need them to know that that's allowed, that that's the life they should be building for themselves. That's the life they deserve to have. You see, part of why we struggle here is because our parents and the generations who came before us have created a generational cycle of you're supposed to lose yourself. You're supposed to sacrifice yourself. You're supposed to be a martyr. It's never worked, though. It's never worked. It results in a lot of issues and problems and things like that. And I understand that this can be hard. This was really hard for me. This is an area where I really struggled with when my kids were growing up, and that I really wish that I could do over. Okay. I understand that it's hard. But you being a whole person doesn't mean your child is parentified, and it doesn't mean your child is emotionally neglected. It doesn't mean any of that. You can show up as a whole person, and part of you as a person is I'm a parent and I love my child. But that's not all of you as a person. And those are not actually the same thing, y'all. All right. The next one is friends and work. Much like community, our friends or our people in our lives, right? The people we work with, the people we see every day, the people we talk to every day will drastically impact how we choose to live, what we choose as our goals, right? If everyone you know has decided that they need to lose weight, you probably have too. If everyone you know has decided that they need to do something to their house, you may too. If all the people that you work with are vying for promotions because they want to climb the corporate ladder, you probably are too. And it's because of the outside pressure. You see, there is some truth. While I'm not a big fan of the quote, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with, there is some truth to that. The influence of the people that you spend the most time with can drastically impact what you perceive as your own goals. The key here, though, is not to find 5 people you want to be like. It's to find 5 people who are like you at the level you want to be operating at. Right? So often we find 5 people, we're like, that person is making millions in their business and I'm starting a business, so I'm going to put myself with that person, right? But you haven't identified whether or not you even want to be starting a business, whether or not that's even your dream for yourself. You've just decided you want to make millions of dollars like that other person, and that should be your goal, but you don't even know how much that aligns with who you are or what you need or what you want in life, right? So understanding that those people that you spend that time with, that you surround yourself with, that you need to be authentically you. Okay. These are not people who you don't know if you are connected or if you are authentically aligned. But what you do know is I want what they have. Okay. Because if you want what they have, but it doesn't align with you, it doesn't matter. It's going to make you miserable. You're going to struggle. You're going to suffer because you're not connected or purposefully connected. You're living outside of your authentic self. And there's a lot of space in here where what you're really doing is operating from the space of comparison and envy. And that's why you're unhappy, right? And for some of you, I know you need to hear that. When you're operating from a space of comparison and envy, when you become in relationship with somebody because they're one of the 5 people that you want to be like, but you don't have the checkpoint in yourself of this is who I am and this is what I want and this is why I want it. These are my values. This is what I'm doing in life. And you're just looking at their results. I want to be as thin as her. I want to be as fit as her. I want that house that looks like the magazine picture like her. I want the bank account like her. I want the marriage like her. When you're not thinking about whether or not that aligns with you, you are stepping outside of your own space. You're going to lose your identity. You're going to end up miserable. All right. You're going to end up miserable because that doesn't actually resonate for you. It doesn't resonate for you. So be cautious. Some of you are like, I want to go to work. Okay. Some of you, this is a very good example of this. Some of you are like, I want that promotion. I want to climb the ladder. I want to get to this level. I want to make partner at my law firm. Some of you really want that. Okay. Some of you don't actually want that. Some of you actually want more time with your family. Some of you want different balance. You want to be able to live comfortably, but being like super rich is not worth the trade-off of the time you're going to spend or the risk you'd have to take, right? You don't care about being a multimillionaire because you know it takes a long time and it can be very high risk. So you're like, I want to make an income I can live on and enjoy my life and enjoy my family. But if you're working with all these people who want that promotion and you feel like you're supposed to want that promotion too, or it means that you're not ambitious enough, or it means that you don't care enough, that's going to be problematic, right? So understanding just because everybody around me wants this doesn't mean I need to. And I have reasons why I don't want that. Maybe I don't want that promotion because I want to build my own business. Y'all want to work for somebody else. I don't. So it makes sense that you're all striving for the promotion, but I shouldn't show up at work the same way you show up at work. I shouldn't show up working like you work because I'm not trying to get the promotion, right? I'm not trying to get the promotion. So I don't need to show up the way you are. You're showing up that way with the intention of you really want that promotion. That doesn't align with me. So I'm not going to show up in that same way. And the last one, and this one has a lot more impact on us than we realize it does. So please understand what a big deal this is social media and media. Okay. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to be cautious and thoughtful about what you are putting in your brain. All right. And I'm going to give you this really kind of funny and very vulnerable example. So I'm actually a really big fan of reality TV. I love reality TV. Okay. I'm just telling you, love reality TV. I'm a particularly big fan of Bravo. And I am obsessed with Real Housewives. I know all the Real Housewives. I know all the Real Housewives that have ever been. I can tell you my favorites. I can tell you most of their kids' names, like the whole nine. Love Real Housewives. It is my guilty pleasure. I always joke about it's almost embarrassing how much I love the Real Housewives. And I have watched them all. All right. There was a place where I was watching the Real Housewives, and all of a sudden I was like, I think I need Botox. I really think I need Botox, right? This is not a thing that actually matters to me, y'all. I need you to understand that this has never been a thing that matters to me. I have no problem with other people who this is important to them, okay? I have never really had a talent for, and we're going to talk about that in the next video, why that matters, but I've never really had a talent for how things look appearance wise. Like very I have some talent for it. I can get by on it, but it's not something that I'm super interested in. I'm not super interested in what's the trendy outfit. I do not really care about, like, I would like to dress nicely, but I'm not interested in that. It's not a natural talent for me and it's not really a big interest of mine. I have friends, by the way, who love this, and I'm so glad for it because I can just lean into that as their strength, right? It's not a thing to me, but if I need to go somewhere and I need an outfit to go there and I don't know what to wear, I can call a friend to help me with that, right? I don't have to personally own that. I don't have to go shopping for all this time, right? Which is also more common in my community. I don't have to go shopping and have the latest, newest thing all the time. If I need something in a moment that I need to wear somewhere important or special, I have somebody who can help me pick something, right? for my own wardrobe or go to the store or whatever, or loan me something, that's awesome for me because that's not my thing. All right. It's not really a part of who I am. But I was watching Real Housewives and I was watching Real Housewives so much. I was like, and there was like a phase on Real Housewives where every single one of them, okay, every location was having a Botox party. And I was binging them because I had them on record. And I all of a sudden was like, I think I'm going to need Botox. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I need Botox. Okay. I suddenly was all about that I needed to get Botox. I had never thought of this before. I knew Botox existed, it just wasn't a thing, okay? Because this isn't a thing that is of real importance to me. It's not a thing, it's never been a thing for me. And so I already was in a place where I was like, that weight loss New Year's resolution was really not aligned with me. That's why I couldn't do it for 20 years because I'm not concerned about losing weight and how I physically look. I'm concerned about my health and how I physically feel. So if I want to make changes in my eating habits or my exercise habits, it has to be about how I feel and my health and my numbers at the doctor's office when I go get a physical, not what I look like in a swimsuit because that doesn't click for me. So why all of a sudden is Botox clicking for me? It's really important to understand what a big issue social media and media are in this arena. You can go on social media and very clearly be like, this is how you get the supposed to goals in a lot of cases. I'm supposed to throw my kids big fancy birthday parties. I'm supposed to have a house that looks like it could be photographed for a magazine. I'm supposed to look this way. I'm supposed to carry this bag. I'm supposed to have a side hustle. Okay. I'm convinced side hustle culture came from social media. Okay. Because I have to tell you this side hustle culture is extremely prominent in women. All right. And I mean women. It's extremely common in women. And I don't know a single woman who's sitting at home going, I don't have enough to do. I have 2 kids, a house, a full-time job, and a partner. I think I need a side hustle too. I don't know any women who are thinking that, okay, within themselves. I think that the prevalence of this is social media. I do know women who are like, I want to start my own business so that I can change this or so that I can set my own hours or so that I have more flexibility. But I do not know very many women who are even doing that, or men for that matter, because doing that is a lot. Right? Doing that is a lot. And I don't think I've ever met anybody who's saying, I want to do that when I have a 2-year-old. Maybe when the kids are in school, maybe as things kind of quiet down. But the prevalence with which this was happening was astronomical. The other space you see this happening a lot is wine culture, especially for women. Wine culture. Okay. This was not a thing. Just putting it out there. This was not a thing in my generation. The drinking every single day was considered to be problematic. It meant that you were disconnected or that you were not happy with your life. And now this is like, oh, that's just what everybody does. All right. What I want to tell you is that even the belief that everyone is running through the hamster wheel, everyone is going through the motions, gets up, makes breakfast for the family, goes to work, punches a clock, works all day, comes home, throws in a load of laundry, gets dinner started, runs the kids to soccer, does the homework, does bath time, goes to bed. They go to bed, get up the next day, do all that stuff again. Okay. That belief that you have that that's how everyone is living their life and that that's okay for that to be the way you live your life too is coming from these 5 things: family, culture, generation, and community, partnership, your partner, okay, the other parents at your kids' school, the pressure that's what a mom should be doing, your friends or coworkers, and social media and the media. That's not coming from inside you. It's not coming from inside you. No part of you inside is like, that's great. That's what I want my life to be. Every part of you inside is saying, I am withering. I am withering. I don't even know who I am anymore. I feel burnt out. I have no passion for life. I feel unhappy. I feel dissatisfied. I feel disconnected. I have no idea what's going to make this better. Maybe I need a side hustle. Maybe I need to quit my job. Maybe I need a divorce. Maybe I need to move. Maybe I need to lose weight. Maybe I need to. It's none of those things. You have to turn down the volume on these things and listen to what's inside of you and reconnect with your true purpose so that you can create alignment and intention and show up authentically in your life. In my next video, I am going to be talking about how to find your purpose, how to find the things that you're passionate about, and how to get those into your life. Because here's the thing, I'm not saying that we're all going to quit our jobs and go live in our purpose being, a poet. I am saying that there are spaces in our life where we can reignite the flame and make it all worthwhile. So do not forget to subscribe. You never want to miss a single thing. I am all about helping you build your very best life, the one that you have been dreaming of, because the truth is you deserve it. You deserve it. And your kids, for those of y'all who have kids, your kids deserve to see that that is possible. They deserve to be inspired by you, and they deserve to know that that is the life that they can look forward to when they're grown-ups. All right, I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.